In this video, I'm going to show you the exact steps to teach your dog how to sit and stay, regardless of whatever distractions are around. But I'm also going to talk about why the sit-stay exercise may be one of the most important skills that you work on with your dog in training. I'm Ken Steep. This is Funky Monkey. Welcome back to McCann Dogs. We train more than 500 dog owners every single week at our training facility. So if this is your first time on our YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that I can help you to have a well-behaved four-legged family member. In last week's video, I taught you how to teach your dog to wait in one position, which is one of the most used skills in our household. But the stay is a little bit more formal, and it's one of the greatest ways to give your dog clear and concise information. It's the kind of exercise that's so black and white to your dog that your dog will be able to learn it really quickly, as long as you're clear with your expectations. Now, you're going to begin with your dog in that sit in start position at your side, which I showed you in a video earlier, but it's a really clear way to begin this exercise. And this stay exercise is always going to begin with your dog in this position. So I'm going to tell Funky to get in and sit. Yes, good girl. And I'll reward her for that, for doing such a great job. Now, the first thing I want you to do is clearly tell your dog to stay. And you can even flash a hand signal, like a little stop sign for them. But then I want you to step out front, but be toe to toe. Make it really easy for your dog to be right. And the best way to do that is by staying nice and close. Then I can yes, Funky, and step back. Yes, good, stay, good girl. Now, this is a very foundational step, but I want you to rehearse this many, many times, being really close to your dog and supporting them with your voice when you're out in front. Now, you need to be a little bit self-aware about this exercise. So if you're rewarding your dog and then you go to tell them to stay, it's really important that you don't have any food in your hand. We don't want to make this any more difficult than it already is for your dog in training. So when I tell Funky to stay, I'm going to have an empty hand. I'll tell her to stay. Then I'll step out in front. Food distraction is something that we can build on and we'll work towards, but at this point we want to make it as easy as possible for your dog to be right. Now, at this point your dog might make a couple of mistakes. They might get up out of that sitting position, or they might move towards you if you've given them too much room. So it's really important to know what to do if it doesn't go right. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you in just a moment that I'll lure Funky out of position, or I'll make it a little bit too difficult, and then I'll pull her into a standing position. But the first thing I'm going to do is use my voice. A simple oops or ah or hey or something to mark the moment that she makes a mistake. The next thing I'm going to do is show her how to be right. I'm going to take her back to the exact spot where we started, and I'm going to place her in a sit. So I'll show you now. Get in, buddy. And I won't even use the stay command just because it'll be easier to get her out. So now I'm going to trick Funky into moving out of position. Oops. So all I need to do is bring Funky back to exactly where she was, remind her to sit, place her in that sit, and then before I go anywhere, I'm going to remind her to stay again. Good girl. Now we're going to make it really easy. Yes, good girl. And I'm going to reward her really soon. I've had her in that sit placement. She's thought about it for a couple of moments. She's maintained that stay. Let's try it again. Stay. And I'm going to move out here just a little farther. Yes, good girl. So I've been able to get a couple of successful repetitions in after she had made that one mistake. Good girl. Now, to be clear, make sure you put your dog back in the position where they started, in the spot where you initially asked them to stay. The last thing we want is Funky slowly making her way, towards maybe another distraction. Maybe there's a toy on the floor and I keep replacing her in that stay, but slowly and surely she's making her way towards that stay. Okay, so if your dog happens to get up out of position, I want you to replace them exactly where they were, sit, in that spot where you started. Now, when you started to teach your dog how to stay, I want you to remove that word from your vocabulary at any other time other than training it. Something people often do is, once their dog's had a couple of sessions of learning how to stay, they'll start using stay in everyday life when they don't have an opportunity to train through it if your dog makes a mistake. So just abandon that word entirely. Now, we taught the wait last week, which is similar to the stay, but it's really important that you save this stay command for that special occasion when you're working on it in these early steps. You often hear me talk about consistency, clarity, and fairness when you're training your dog, and the stay is no different than that. In fact, it's one of the best exercises to really be clear with your dog. That's why the stay can only end, the only time your dog can get up is when you return back to their side. So you saw me at the beginning, I started with Funky in this position. I want Funky to know that the only way this position ends and her job is over is when I return back to this side. Now, I'm gonna show you in just a moment how to increase the challenge a little bit. And for some of your dogs, they may be really tempted to get out of position. But if they learn at this point that the only time that they're allowed to get up and move is when you're back in at their side, it makes their job a lot easier. And it makes your job as a trainer much easier too. Now that you're only using your stay when you're training it with your dog so that that word isn't losing value, you're gonna find that you're able to increase the challenge a little bit. And after lots of successful repetitions in toe-to-toe with your dog, we can start to make it a little bit harder. So I want you to think about these 3 different challenges that you can do with your dog, choosing one at a time. The first one I'm going to talk about is distraction. So I'm going to tell Funky to stay, and then I'm going to step out in front of her, and I'm just going to wiggle the leash, see if she's excited by that. Yes, good girl. And then I'm going to step in and reward her for not making a mistake. The second one I want to talk about is distance. So if we've been toe-to-toe, or maybe you've been at a foot or 2 feet away from your dog, we can challenge her a little bit by going farther away. So I'm going to tell Funky, stay, show her that stay sign, and I'm going to go right out to 6 feet. Yes, good girl. Nice job, Fun. And I can return back to her side for that great reward. Good girly. And the third one I want to talk about is duration. So the amount of time that you're spending away from your dog can be challenging for some dogs, especially, in a distracting environment. So let's tell her to stay, and then I'm going to step out for, if you've been out for 10 seconds or 15 seconds without a reward, maybe I'll stand out here for 30 seconds. Now, a really important factor in dog training in general is your timing. So at any point, if Funky were to make a mistake, I need to mark that with my oops or my ah, or a hey or something. But if she remains in position for these 30 seconds, I can tell her yes. Then I can step in and reward her. What a good girl. Nice job. So even though you're getting a little farther away from your dog, or maybe you're away from them for a little bit longer period of time, you need to maintain that same great dog training timing. So mark that moment, whether it's a mistake or a great choice, and then step in and reward. Now, if you find like you're struggling with something like distraction, and your dog, when you wiggle the leash, for example, I'll show you Funky stay. Maybe this is too much for your dog. Maybe they get really excited and they get up and you've got to oops and replace them back in position. If that's the case, just reduce that distraction a little bit. The last thing we want to be doing is rehearsing the same thing where maybe it's a tennis ball, you bounce a tennis ball and your dog gets up. Well, you don't want to bounce that tennis ball again. Maybe you can toss it in the air, or in this case, just a softer wiggle. Yes, good girl. And then step in and reward your dog. When we're talking about distance with our dog, this is one of the other really important parts of going back to their side to release them. So I'm going to tell Funky to stay. Now, as I step out here, I can support her with my voice, good girl, good stay. But she's learned, even at this point, that I will not be releasing her from out here. My stay is a really formal, really definitive exercise, so she won't be released until I step back in. Yes, what a good girl. You did such a great job. And then I can release her when I'm back in at her side. Okay. Using the stay command when you're training your dog is such an important exercise because it inherently builds in the value of some impulse control. Your dog is rewarded when they leave those tough distractions. It also really gives them some confidence because it gives them an opportunity to choose. And if they choose the wrong thing, like getting up out of position, you mark it and you can replace them, show them how to be right, and then you can reinforce those great choices for your dog. The big picture of teaching the stay command can have such a great value on all of your dog training skills and exercises. Now, if you want to teach your dog how to wait so that you can release them remotely, then click that video beside us. And if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We publish new videos every single week to help you to have a well-behaved, four-legged family member. On that note, I'm Ken. This is Funky Monkey. Happy training.